Max Nunes in the red bad boy shorts in the blue corner. Futin in the black shorts in the red corner. First thing that is apparent is just the sheer size difference.
Oh, there's a huge reach advantage for Nunes, but you know, that's only half the battle really. What can he do to take advantage of that?
Nunes, southpaw as well. Excellent striker, light on his toes. Loves those body kicks. Outside leg kick as well.
If he has any attacks that he can go start utilizing, establish that he could beat up Futin from the outside and distance, he's really going to put it in the ball in Futin's corner as far as having to close the distance, have to take a risk of coming across the artillery of Nunes and take a chance of running into something. And right there, you're seeing that Nunes tried to stomp on the thigh and use a side kick to the lead leg to eliminate the forward motion of Maxim Futin, and didn't have enough drive. Didn't really have his hips lined up properly to really drive in and have structure on it.
Nice high kick there from Max Nunes. Very patient start from him. 14 of his 16 wins are by finish. 11 of first round stoppages. Low kick there by Futin, but Max Nunes shakes it off.
And this is really on Futin's part. He's going to have to make up for the lack of height here and reach. And throwing one punch or trying to jump in with one punch is very risky. It's not going to give him the overall advantage at all. Tactically, he needs to start throwing many strikes. He needs to pump out 2 or 3 jabs, or throw a three-piece combination, 1-2-1, and be moving his feet forward so that way he can get within distance and have something behind it. If he just basically runs and tries to leap in, it'd be the equivalent of me, in a gunfight trying to run towards my opponent without firing anything downrange to distract them or to endanger them whatsoever. You're basically just a sitting duck as you try to cross that distance that he's lacking in reach here.
Tried to make up for it there, leaped in with a bit of a ride, but a very patient start from Max Nunes. He's one of the top talents as well in Europe, really highlighted as somebody to watch. He's had almost a year out of the cage though. His last fight was just last October. Only lasted 43 seconds as well, so maybe, catches some big shots there.
Too composed, too at that point relaxed, and allowed a shorter opponent to, and Maxim Futin to just basically leap in and tag him with shots, which shouldn't be able to happen. His jab needs to be more effective, and now he's taken down, and now that length that he has could be a disadvantage in the ground fight. Good job of building back to his base, though, and getting up to his feet. He still has his back taken here. Hands are connected, and that's a lot of pressure on that leg. A great job on Futin's to break him back down. Now he needs to drive forward. Here he goes ahead, and now that's an awful position. He was attempting to go for a rolling knee bar, and Futin did a great job of just pressuring forward and keeping his body out of danger, that leg. And now they ended up in closed guard.
Interesting to see the grappling exchange here. Nunes very well known for his submissions, his work off the back.
And might attempt to go ahead and hit it there, and arm bars lining up pretty well for him. Great knee position. You see right there how Futin was able to, once the guard opened up, he drove that left knee in, which blocks arm bars, triangles, and now he drove it across, and now he moved into a half guard position. And now Nunes is trying to use his hips, get his hips out and get that underhook. Futin did a good job of pushing him down, and now that attempt right there to push him over looked like Nunes was possibly looking for a near side heel hook if you could push the guy over. But the Sambo experience of Futin probably let him know what position he was in, drove the head off, and now he's in a dominant position again. And by driving that leg up, he's threatening a mount, which he almost has right there, and he pushed across.
Looking to take the back. Nunes powers out of that.
He did. He was able to stand up, and actually his height advantage actually helped him out there. Had he been a little bit shorter, I think that Futin was stepping across the far hip and getting that leg hook in and getting the leg ride. Had he been able to secure that, he would have driven him back down to the mat. But due to the height of Nunes, was able to stand up and avoid that control. And now he's pushed up against the cage, having to fight for an underhook. Short time here for these guys to work, I think.
That Sambo experience of Futin coming to the front with 10 seconds left.
I'd be careful, though, of hanging the head there. He's got a great head position there, but with Nunes' great length and height advantage, be careful about a knee coming up there.
Versus Maxim Futin. Futin must have taken some good confidence from that round as well. Certainly had his moments, was able to close that distance, and like you say, capitalize on maybe a far too relaxed, cerebral performance from Nunes. Will Nunes have learned from that lesson as well?
And we'll see now if he goes ahead and responds and realizes that maybe a little too sit back and relax and looking, and now needs to be active and not fall victim to being too passive. He is the taller fighter. I don't know why he's not working behind his jab or... Okay, a little bit of a pep talk from the referee here about fighting.
There we go, the crowd respond as well. Nunes looking maybe to use that leg kick exactly there, nice and high.
Roundhouse off the backside. You see also too that Nunes' stance changed a little bit more with the knees.
Switch kick there as well.
He actually looks like now he might actually try to do something, but he's still staying light. He hasn't, he's not completely running away and from the fight. Well, he is now, but but there it goes. He's back to being a little too elusive. I liked it better when he was a little wider with his feet, his knees deep. He still has a great height advantage, but I felt he was more loaded, more dangerous, and so far that was the most effective offense I've seen him throw out there.
You think maybe the success that Futin's had, the strength he's got in these positions, has made Max Nunes a little bit tentative with how he's attacking? Made him think twice about committing to big kicks, so in case he gets taken down.
There's two ways to look at that. You can either be passive like he is, and your opponent's going to take you down anyways, which it looks like he's on the way to a second takedown because Nunes is trying to threaten with that Kimura, but Futin's going to go ahead and just block out the shins and try to drive him down. Again, he goes over the side. Great hip block. Still has a nice tight waist.
Nunes trying to turn him, but leaving no space, Futin, for him to...
No, very intelligently using the cage to go ahead and keep it to where Nunes is having a hard time digging that overhook to go ahead and face him. In fact, actually, if he locks that up, where he was able to turn it quick enough, there's a momentary gap where you're really available. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, if your guy's a good grappler and you know he's going to put you down anyways, you might as well take advantage and make him pay for it and try to utilize your strengths. Sitting there and being tentative and worried about what the other guy can do, most of the time in my experience, leads to being a mistake. Now you're sitting there, well, he might have done this if I did this. There's a chess playing aspect to the game, but you have to be aggressive. You have to force the issue. You have to impose your game plan. Sitting and waiting and second guessing yourself, you tend to end up waking up on your back.
Momentum is such a key thing in fights, isn't it? It's something as a fighter you can feel happen and switch, and you can feel the fans here. Oh, he's giving a yellow card to both fighters for timidity. That's a point off each. Here at ACB, we've got the yellow card system. We spoke to the referee. If they continue with timidity, they get 2 yellow cards for that. That could end in a disqualification. If there's other fouls that go, they will get 3 yellow cards, and that will cause the end of the fight. High kick there from Nunes.
I don't know if I completely agree with Futin getting the yellow card. He's made attempts to go ahead and get this fight to the ground and close distance. He's moving forward. He's just fighting a guy that has an incredible reach advantage over him. It's not, unless you expect him to blindly run in there and run into something. I actually feel he's doing the most that he's trying. Whereas I can see, Max Nunes, I think is a little bit more deserving of that yellow card. He's just really, he's using his reach and he's bouncing back, but to make it a simple case, it doesn't look like he's trying to win the fight.
They come against the cage right in front of us as well. And the closer they got, they just look like they're in 2 different weight classes with the size difference, but Futin seems to be able to close it down, and when he gets against the cage, with the technique, with the years of Sambo experience, he's able to control it there.
He is definitely making a statement and trying to be more aggressive, and really, Nunes is just being purely defensive here. He isn't even going for knees. It's hard for me to make a case of what he's trying to do to win the fight. He's jogging around here. He's on his bicycle, but he's not hurt. And he's every once in a while when he gets in a decent stance.
He got caught there as well.
Oh, and took another uppercut too in that exchange.
Little pause and the grimace from Nunes there. It certainly rang his bell.
I mean, I see why he's highly touted in Nunes. I mean, he's a good athlete. You could see his movements when he is trying to do something, what he's capable of, but he's just not pulling the trigger enough. And he's too calm. He's almost acting like he's the champ right now, and Futin has to take the belt away from him, and that's not the case. Both these guys are making their debut, and right now I have Futin easily winning the fight.
10 seconds left of this second round. The fighters urging them to engage. Nunes again.
It's so strange that Nunes is the longer fighter. He can throw shots and be safer, just moving in and out, do a little bit, the half step in, half step out, and be more active. There, again, the jab, though, that those don't look like they have any intention behind it, right? I mean, am I missing something?
He's not planting his feet. He's really not putting any power, turning the hips. He's certainly touching and using the range just as a range finder, but it would be good to see him sit down on something.
Yeah. There he's sitting down a little bit, but then why jump forward that far? You're the taller guy. He could just move forward 6 inches just within his striking range, land a 2 or 3 combination, and then now he could evade out if he wants to move. Obviously don't sit there and take back any, exchange from Futin. But he's making this fight much easier and giving away advantages that he has. I mean, Futin is doing what he should do as the shorter guy. He could be a little bit more active with his strikes and punches in between, but he is fighting somebody who is quite a bit longer than he is, and it's awkward for him.
First time he really set down a shot. Big knee there from the clinch. He's opened up a huge cut on Futin's head. The referee stopped. That's a massive gash.
That is a gash.
They've called the doctor, and instantly it opened up. And we said he needs to sit down on his shots. The first time he does, look at the damage he has caused.
Yep. I mean, he could have thrown that knee earlier. I think we spoke about it in the first round, how
the referee stopped. That's a massive gash.
That is a gash.
They've called the doctor, and instantly it opened up. And we said he needs to sit down on his shots. The first time he does, look at the damage he has caused.
Yep. I mean, he could have thrown that knee earlier. I think we spoke about it in the first round, how if I was in Futin's corner, I'd be warning him that he needs to be very leery and attentive of those knees. And now you see...
the referee has called it. The doctor stepped in.
Yeah, it's too open. The fight can't be continued on like that with a gash like that. It would be extremely detrimental to the future career of Futin. The blood would be detrimental to his vision. He wouldn't be able to see what's going on. And here you see a replay of the fight. He has a nice tie clinch, the plum, and maybe because Futin's head wasn't being pulled down from initially, he didn't have enough a reaction to get out of there. But Nunes took great advantage of it and fired off the first knee, second knee. Here's a nice plum. The first knee didn't really land. Second one did. Third one did the damage.
And instantly that opens up. And we talk about the fight being tentative. It was finished in a devastating way, and we're just frustrated to see the early stages of that fight, that what Nunes brought, but hell of a finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time, 1 minute and 10 seconds of round